Hey everybody, it's Amy with Born Again to Live. You guys know I never know what day it is, but I always know when it's a Blues Day Tuesday, and today's Blues Day Tuesday. Come on, Eric, don't I get a yang or something?
I was thinking of Blue's Clues when you did that.
Okay, you know
I
what?
don't know why, but that's enthusiasm. What was his name? Steve? No, Steve, the guy who sat in the chair. Yeah.
Am I just staring at me across the mic? Thanks for the see if Eric had done
He
that.
was way more excited. That's who was the excited guy.
All right, say it with me, Eric. Yay!
Yay!
See, it's not hard. Okay, well, I'm glad we have a. She's looking at us like, oh my gosh, is this a Tom and Jerry skit? Okay, no.
Like 9 hours podcasting later, and Eric's supposed to be peppy.
You're more like Pepe Le Pew because you stink right now, Eric. Okay, but now we're on our final.
We're out of gummies and teasing us with olive. Come on, man.
Okay, yeah. So it's late in the day, but we are so excited to have her with us. She is our most recent core team addition. We have April Cohn with us today, and April's one of these people that I just recently got to know when you got involved in Big Blue. So welcome to the show, April.
Thanks, Amy. Eric.
All right, listeners, fair game. She's nervous. Yeah, I don't know. She took a little convincing to get on here, and
Yeah.
I stick with the theory that everyone who is of Christ has a story.
Yeah.
And the Bible says that we are saved by the power of the blood and their testimony. So April has a testimony,
Yes.
and we're going to hear it, and it's going to change a life.
Yeah, I firmly
So
believe.
that's why we're here.
Yeah. I've heard some of the stuff you've said, April, and and this has just been in our casual conversations, and I'm like, wow, you got some depth to you, sister. So I know that sharing it with other people is going to matter a lot. So
Best advice I can give is ignore the microphone, ignore the computer. You're talking to Amy and Eric, and that's all that matters.
That's it. Okay, and this is to the listeners. When we recorded this episode with April, we kind of took a pause between the beginning of her interview and then she resumed a little while later. So you are going to hear a little bit of, there's going to be a little bit of repeat in the story, but we felt that it was important to leave it in because both times there's a little, there's different things that she shares. And so that's what you're about to hear.
And just remember, guys, it's hard to share your testimony at times, so
Yes.
give her some love.
Yes.
All right, so the first thing we always ask is take as long as it takes to get to there, but how have you gotten to where you're at with God? Your whole life up to now, how have you gotten to where you're at with God in this moment?
Okay. Well, it took me probably about 30 years. I'll tell you that. So when I was a kid, I was in an abusive home. I had an alcoholic father. Had a stepmom who had some substance abuse, and she would not be very attentive sometimes, and put us in a point where we were put in foster care when I was 10. When I say we, I have a sister, and I had a stepbrother, and I had two stepsisters. The stepsisters were older. They were in their teens whenever I was put in foster care. They were closer to being an adult. And my stepbrother was 12 or 13. I was 10 when I was put in foster care. But before that, we were mischievous little kids, let me tell you. We lived in West Virginia as well. So we would go along and, back in the 90s, early to mid 90s, kids didn't have a lot of supervision anyway, I think. We got into some mischievous stuff by just not having supervision. Dangerous stuff. We jump off of a bridge into moving car rails full of coal and ride it down about a mile and jump out into the water.
Wow.
So we definitely did some dangerous things. We did some mischievous things as well. I didn't have a good home life, so we kind of nitpicked on homeless people.
Okay.
Which were not good, but the homeless people actually fed us. So that means a lot whenever, don't even know who the guy was to the day. We just missed. but he finished several things that he would have to eat himself. So very thankful for my life. So fast forward to 10, I was in foster care. I was put into a Christian home, or what I thought was Christian, but they did not pray. We didn't go to church, they didn't pray, but they used scripture and the 10 Commandments and everything. Obey your father, obey your mother. We weren't allowed to wear certain clothing because it was against biblical rules. We had to do a lot of manual work. We spent most of our summers doing work. We never really did anything fun. Not that we didn't do anything fun, because I'm not going to say that that was a complete bad experience, because I'm very thankful for them. Yeah. We filled trains from a bridge. We threw snowballs at cop cars and got taken home, which was not fun. We even messed with a homeless man who lived under a bridge, but he wasn't scary. He was actually kind. He gave us food when we were hungry, even though he didn't necessarily have food to give to himself. Looking back, I see how God placed small moments of grace, even in the middle of a mess. At 10, I was placed in a Christian foster home, which I thought maybe things would get better, but instead, religion became another form of control. Scriptures like, honor your father and mother, Exodus 20:12, and you shall not steal, Exodus 20:15, were used to punish, not to teach. There was no prayer, no worship, just a lot of rules. I kid you not, we actually, beside our refrigerator, there was a cupboard. And on that cupboard, it was a 2-door cupboard. But on that cupboard was 3 sheets of paper that had been printed out from one of those 1990s papers. The ones with the little
like dots on the side.
Dots on the side. And it was 3 pages long on there about what we were allowed to do and what we were not allowed to do.
Wow.
We had certain food in certain cabinets that were ours, but they had food that was theirs. So one thing that I remember, my mom at the time would call our food, or our bread. One time at dinner time, we were out of bread, and she always referred to it as dog bread, because she made homemade bread. And she said, well, go get the dog bread. And I said, there's none in the cupboard. And I got trouble because we didn't tell her that we were out of store-bought bread. And so we had to share a piece. I remember we had 4 kids, me and my sister, and there was 2 other foster kids at the time. And so my sister and I had to share a piece of bread, of homemade bread, and the other 2 had to share a piece of homemade bread, because it was bread that was not ours. So like I said, love was kind of it was not conditional. If I didn't obey, affection was withheld. I remember punishments like for stupid stuff, like not forgetting to not wipe off the back of a chair because we did chores 3 days a week, and she could tell if we did wipe the back of a chair. I got sat in the hallway, at the back of the hallway, when I was probably 10 or 11, and nobody was allowed to talk to me because that was my punishment.
Wow.
So, that's what I mean by it was kind of a yo-yo relationship, You get love, you don't get love. You get love, you don't get love. At that time, because scripture was used as types of punishment, I remember even as a child, I had some harm done to me from a family member. And my father took it upon himself to punish us both by writing scripture. He made it, I think I was 6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
And we had to write a verse out of a Bible. And I was 6 or 7. I didn't understand what that meant.
Wow.
So by the time I was 14, I didn't want to know who God was.
Yeah.
I started with a youth summer program when I was 13, and we used that money. I was really proud of myself because I earned that money myself, and I used that money for myself for school. Because in my mind, I was so proud of myself. I wanted to buy what I wanted to buy, even though I had restriction on what I was allowed to buy with my money. I was so proud of myself. When I was 14, by the time I was 14, I had another summer job. And by that time, it was on forward. I bought my own clothes. At 18, I started going to college at a community college. But I also worked part-time at McDonald's. So I was working 2 part-time jobs, and I was going to school full-time. And they started charging me rent when I was 18, $250. And at minimum wage of $5.15 an hour, $250 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So to me, I felt used. I didn't feel loved. And then later in my adulthood, I actually found out that they received a stipend for me until I was 21. And even though the stipend might not have been that much, because West Virginia, I know that you don't receive a lot for stipends for children, but it was still money that they were receiving that I wasn't knowledgeable that they were receiving.
Wow.
So I always kept God at a distance. Like, I didn't want to know him, but God never stopped pursuing me. As I got older, I became a mom, and I took my kids to church as a baby, trying to do the right thing. But I didn't understand the power of prayer or the importance of a relationship with God. To me, like, I would take my kids to church, and they'd go to Sunday school, and I'd sit and listen to service, and that was the end of it. And we didn't go home and pray. We didn't go home and have a Bible study. So, there was no relationship with God there. And then as I got older, my relationship with my husband started to weather back and forth. Then I became a single mom. And there were some nights that I cried myself to sleep, not knowing how I'd make it. Because, again, I wasn't calling out to God. So one Christmas particularly, when things were really hard, I remember I had gone to work, and, I was fretting over a couple of things that I was going to get for my kids for Christmas. And, they were young enough. I'm going to say that my oldest daughter was probably 8 or 9.
Okay.
So, and, so they're 8 and 7 and 6, and Josiah was just born. And like, I remember going to the library because they had a used book section, and there was books there that were like brand new. My kids, to me, would have never known that they weren't brand new. Mm-hmm. So I got a couple of things there and some stuff from yard sales, because you can still get things that look new. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. And that was a year that particularly I received a Warm the Children program, because my kids were in elementary school, and the one Head Start teacher come to me, and she's like, April, she was like, you can sign up for this program and they'll help you get clothes. I was proud, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was proud. So I was like, I know, I'm good. We're good. And so I ended up signing up for it anyway, because, even though I'm proud, I still knew my kids needed clothes. Mm-hmm. So I signed up for it, and I did that. And then when I come home one day, there was just gifts on the porch, like three bags of gifts on the porch. And I'm like, they were wrapped, and it just said Merry Christmas. And I'm like, what in the world, And so I was just thankful to God that somebody did that, because even though I didn't let people know I was struggling, people knew I was struggling.
Yeah.
And I said, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father, pebbly lights, James 1:17. And that moment reminded me that I wasn't alone. So, as I mentioned, right around that 30 mark, my marriage was falling apart. I was broken and exhausted and desperate. And that's when I truly met Jesus. Not the Jesus that used to control me, but the Jesus who heals brokenhearted and binds their wounds. Not because I was perfect, but because I was his.
Yeah.
Romans 5:8 says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That verse changed everything for me. I got baptized and gave my life to Christ. Although, I'm almost 40 now. I'm pushing there. I'm still not rich. I was hoping that one day I would win the lottery, and I probably put more money into the lottery than I should have. But I am rich in grace, guys. I try to give back in any way that I can, but especially in small ways. I try to, I take pictures. I love taking pictures. I always offer photo sessions, but I always tell people too, if you can't afford that price, please message. I'll take your pictures. So I feel like that is definitely a way that I can give back. And if you all know me, I make cupcakes.
Yes, she does.
And they are vegan.
So by baking things for people and seeing somebody smile because I've thought of them, I was not loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
But I want to love everybody unconditionally. Freely you have received, freely give. Matthew 10:8. I might not have much, but I always have enough to share. So God's taken my broken past and turned it into this testimony. His love was withheld by people, but his love for me is constant. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. Psalms 38:12. So if you're listening and you've been hurt by people who claim to represent God, I want you to know that was not him. Trust me on that. God is not the pain you experienced. He is your healer, the provider, and the redeemer. He's the one who leaves gifts on porches. Definitely gifts on porches, right? Who meets you in tears, who never stops pursuing your heart. So thank you for letting me share my story.
Man, April.
Thank you for sharing your story. Thanking us. That's just, yeah.
This is why Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. April, I knew you had a story. I in the conversations that we've had, but man, you have a story that I think every woman can relate to. Every mom, every single mom, every divorced, every woman can relate to not being loved, unconditionally.
Yep.
And I'm sorry that people that claim to know Jesus hurt you like they did, but man, the fact that the redemption at the end of the story, right?
Absolutely.
There it was, and the way that you said, because I know what it's like to be loved conditionally. I'll only love unconditionally. That is my only love language, and that's something only God can do. That's so great.
I feel like April needs to say my catchphrase.
Yeah, please do.
It's not a religion; it's a relationship. I feel like right now is a fitting time to throw that out there.
No,
Absolutely, 100%.
We need shirts.
I know, we really do.
I'm going to live against church. No,
Well, and I feel like everyone, when they're telling a painful testimony, especially ones where they have been hurt by so-called Christians, that's always the overarching. It's not a religion; it's a relationship. So, I know that was hard for you, but there was a lot of people that needed to hear that, April.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll turn it to something. The heavy stuff.
More Big Blue related.
Yeah.
So she is a core team member. You've been with us 6 months, something like that.
It's been over a year.
Over a year?
Wow.
I started
Time flies.
art last year around August, September.
Okay.
Wow. That's crazy.
It would have been easier if you started in April, because I know it'd just be a natural, right? Yeah, but okay. All right, it's getting messy.
All right. So anyways, how did you come to find Big? Yeah,
My kids.
Your kids?
My kids started here, gonna say 2 years ago.
Okay.
And
Wow, it's really been that long.
yeah,
That's right, because I knew who Sammy was. She came to our first homecoming party.
Yeah.
And I saw these cute pictures of her. And then it wasn't until much later, a year later, that, Shanda told me, April's coming. She's going to da-da-da-da. And it took me a minute to be like, oh, you're Sammy's mom. Like at some point, you're like, well, my kids, and like, who are your kids? They should come here. And you're like, they do. So that's right. I do remember that now.
So we can ask what your favorite memory here is so far.
Oh, goodness. I want to say so far, Paint Night was my favorite.
It looked epic.
Yeah.
I
And
missed that night.
Oh, you were there? I thought you were. Yeah, everyone that was there loved it.
Yeah.
the
Oh, Paint Wars. Oh, I thought you meant like the paint. You had a paint night here too, right?
Oh, yeah, I did have that.
I got lost in that one.
I'm saying Paint
Yes, Paint
Wars.
Wars was awesome.
When
Still got paint and
everybody
stuff
was
that I can't get off.
covered at
Human canvases, right?
But I also want to say, I think some of my favorite times were also when we went to Winchester with the kids for the concert, and like just seeing my kids in general, like singing the whole way there and the whole way home. And it's just been a truly amazing opportunity for my kids to grow in their spirit. I mean, I have had 2 that's been baptized within the last year, and they just are moving forward, and I feel like Big Blue is a big part of that.
That's awesome.
I have,
That's why we're here.
I have loved hard on her kids while they've been here.
Why
I
not?
love those kids, and oh man, they bring me so much joy.
Eric's a hug hog.
I am.
He gets all the hugs here, and then they get all.
I finally gave you a hug.
Sai gave me a hug, and the best one is I told Amy earlier, like Alexis. She came up to me one day and gave me the full-on hug, and then she goes, "Mom, did you see that? I didn't give him a side hug." And like she's so happy that she finally got through that barrier of like just being comfortable enough to hug somebody. Oh, seeing so much growth in these kids, it's amazing. But at the same time, I'm seeing growth in April here with us.
Absolutely.
A comfortable level with us.
Mhm.
I guess that's the right terminology. Our
Yeah.
level of comfort with us and
Yeah.
opening up to us and being here today. And
I definitely feel God has placed us where we need to be.
Yeah.
I know there was a couple nights where April had messaged me like after events or something and thanked me for being in her kid's life. And I'm like, oh, that's no problem. I love it. And she's like, you're family. And I'm like, that's the same feeling I have. You're all awesome. So
Well, as a core team, we are family.
We are,
And I had a lot of fun with you at the Christmas event last year. That's probably one of the first times we really worked together. But we're all wearing like goofy Christmas shirts and sweaters and hats, and we were running the cornhole, which we call candy cane hole, whatever. But that was a fun thing. And like April has this, for those that don't know her, she has a hilarious sense of humor.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the video that you sent me after the noisemaker event. Anyway, we're not going to get into that right now. But okay, so another question that we typically ask is, what advice do you have for young people that are seeking God?
My advice is to not let those people influence your decision on God. So no matter how much you go through, just know that God has you. Even if you don't see it right now, even if you don't want to see it right now, when you're ready, God will continue pursuing you. He will definitely be in your lives, even if you don't want him to be, because there's so many things that could have happened bad as a child. Like I could have died jumping off a train into a train car, you know what I mean? Or other very stupid things that happen. But, God's always there for us, regardless if we want him there or not. And, I tell my kids all the time, if you wake up and you are healthy and you're blessed.
Yeah.
We might not have everything we want, but we definitely have everything we need.
So true. I don't think I've ever heard anyone be grateful to a homeless man ever on an interview of any kind. And the fact that like, that is an amazing story. Like, man, that God would use a homeless person to help feed you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When everybody's focused on feeding the homeless, she's getting fed by the homeless.
Yeah. That's wild.
Oh, but I just want to say thank you for being here.
Yes.
I know that it may have been a struggle, but at the same time, we just went through the salt and light. And you don't want to hide that light.
Nope.
You have a light.
Mm-hmm.
So be proud of that and don't hide it ever.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your gifts and your creativity and your family with us here at Big Blue. It would not be the same place without your family and we're
cupcakes.
And cupcakes.
Don't forget the cupcakes.
I mean, like, April is like, she moms all of us. You guys have food, we have cupcakes. Like, what else do we need? Like, I love it when April moms me. It's the best thing ever. But yeah, you bring something to Core Team that only you can bring. And so it's just been a joy having you as part of our Big Blue family. Thank you for being here on Blues Day Tuesday.
Thanks for having me. I'm thankful for you guys as well.
Yay.
And April is a listener and spreader of our podcast.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
We do. We do. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you have gotten something out of this amazing testimony. I know I have. I've cried.
Yes.
Cried again. But no, this has been a great one.
Yep. All right. See you guys.
Bye.